disclosure, it was raw meat. But you know what?
I don't know where this is going, man.
So anyways, so I was slanging meat in three different states.
Oh, really?
4. So, ask about me.
Welcome back to the newest episode of the Real Estate and Chill podcast. I'm your host, James Scheider from Cliffco Mortgage, here with
Kevin Iglesias, associate real estate broker. As always, it's $1 million episode.
This one's a little special.
This one is special. I mean, when you get a guest that fills up their tank, and you know how expensive gas is.
Yeah,
it's not cheap, right? Drives 5 hours just to come here and support us and shoot a podcast. So we got Cristian, MLO in the building. Let's give him a round of applause.
Yo, what's up, everybody? I really appreciate you guys having me out here. Very excited to be here, man. So thank you guys really for having me here.
It's an honor, man. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, appreciate it, man.
It's a far drive.
5 hours, when you listen to a great podcast, Real Estate and Chill, it goes by pretty quick.
No, we appreciate that.
Like, subscribe. It's free, people.
And push for a notification bell or something. I don't know what those YouTubers say. But.
All right, freaking you. He's a little awkward. You'll realize. You'll realize.
So tell us a little about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So my name is Cristian Blandon. I'm coming from Woodbridge, Virginia, right out of the D.C. area. I'm a U.S. Army veteran. I'm a dad of 3. And I am licensed in D.C., Maryland, Virginia, Texas, and Pennsylvania as a mortgage loan officer. So if you're looking to buy or refinance, please give me a call. My phone's always charged. And, I'm here to help people and make money at the same time.
The more people you help, the more money you make.
That's right.
We appreciate your service too.
Yeah,
First and foremost.
When did you serve?
From 2009 to 2013. I was deployed in Afghanistan from 2010 to 2011. We were there when we caught Osama bin Laden. So
wow.
So that I was over there.
Oh my gosh.
I wasn't the guy that did it, but I was there.
But you were there for support.
That's right. Yeah.
You were the backup.
I was.
You had the gun.
If they needed me, I would have shown up. But they didn't need me though. So
wait. So, but how did this all happen in transition? How'd you go from holding this, this weapon to be like,
to fucking, or excuse me.
These are what the rates are.
You can do whatever you want. These are what the rates are. Right. So, I got out in 2013. I went to school for a few years. I was living in North Carolina, moved back up to the D.C. area in 2015. And from there, I got into sales, right? We're talking like low-level sales, selling cell phones, right? Just garbage. I think the commission on a iPhone was like $10 or something. It was just trash, right? But that's where I got a taste of it. My dad passed away 3 months into that job.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, thank you. So I ended up quitting after 2 weeks. After that happened, then I got into another sales job selling meat, raw meat.
What was the commission on that?
That was much better. We were talking like $1,100 to $1,700 per package of meat that you sold.
Hey, yo,
$1,100 to $1,700.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's wild because a guy says I sell meat. You think you're a late night organ donor. You know what I'm saying? So
depending who you tell it to.
Right. Full disclosure, it was raw meat. But you know what?
I don't know where this is going, man.
So anyways, so I was slanging meat in three different states.
Really?
4. So ask about me. I had deals in West Virginia, D.C., Maryland, and Pennsylvania is where 4 states in D.C. I was doing that. And then I went to this one house, and the guy was like, yo, you ever thought about selling something else? I was like what? And he did...
That's a questionable question, by the way. Imagine like, yo, you want to sell something else?
No,
besides raw meat.
So he was selling remodeling stuff for like the house, like windows, doors, and roofs. And
okay,
stuff
so like
that,
materials
right?
and
Well, he was like, it was Home Fix Custom Remodeling. Shout out to them. You had to knock on doors, so canvassing, and then you'd be like, hey, your roof looks pretty bad. Have you thought about remodeling or whatever? And then they'd send a sales guy out there, me, and I'd try to close a deal, right?
The closer.
Selling meat and fucking windows, two goddamn different things. Jesus Christ. Listen, I think I sold like gutters once and didn't sell like anything else. I should have stayed selling meat. Anyways, I did that for about 9 months. And this guy that we were doing it with together, selling the windows and all that stuff, he ended up quitting after like a month or two. Right. And I always kept in touch with him. He used to be in the mortgage industry. So, this guy was a fly guy, always had like some designer stuff on.
Yeah, just like you, bro. So first thing I said to
you
Chris
see the
when he walked in, I was like,
Come on.
the
Balenciaga jean jacket, the Burberry shirt. Come on.
Big B's in the building, So he drove a BMW, and I was like, I hit him up one time. I was like, hey, what are you doing? He was like, oh man, I'm back in the mortgage industry. I was like, is there any money in that? He was like, well, my best year I did 1.2 million. I was like, you made 1.2 million? He was like, yeah. He was like, actually, it was 1.247600, and he gave me the full number. I was like, God damn. So that was all I needed to hear. I quit that day. I took the freaking 20-hour NMLS course, and that Monday I was hired.
All right, sorry to cut you off. I don't mean to cut you off.
We got to rewind back.
You realize that your story is exactly the Wolf of Wall Street story. Do you understand that that's exactly what Leonardo DiCaprio told Jonah Hill? It's exactly how you said it. Like, how much did you make last month? 70,000. Well, actually, it was like 67.3.
Show me your paycheck. I'll quit my job now.
So you literally are Jonah Hill.
Fuck it. I'll be Jonah. I didn't bring the glasses with me, but I'll be Jay Hill. So, I was in LOA for 6 months. I started in August and got licensed in December of that year, 2016. And, I never looked back. It was tough, but I never looked back after that.
That's an interesting switch, by the way. You're selling windows, gutters, be like, hey,
meat.
You want some raw meat too?
Yeah.
Well, phones first.
Yeah. Phones.
And that's surprising. I thought that like phones you would make more money than selling.
God, it was trash.
So if you're out there selling phones,
fucking sell mortgages instead. Yeah, absolutely.
That's right, because I have a buddy who went from selling phones directly to mortgages. Shout out to Rodney.
Shout out to Rodney.
So that's crazy how you transition from like what I kind of feel like it snowballed, like it went to like bigger and bigger things. Like you kept moving forward.
Well, it should always, right? You should always level up.
Absolutely, yeah. And before I got into mortgages, I was going to get into real estate. And the guy that I was going to do it with, I was going to be his assistant. But then I think I tried to play hardball. He was like, I'll offer this much. And I was like, I think I had read something somewhere where you shouldn't take the first offer. So I was like, I think I raised it by like $500 or something, right? Nothing significant. And he was like, all right, I'll get back to you. Then his daughter comes back from college and he hires her. I was like, all right, everything happens for a reason. And then got into mortgages instead.
Well, honestly, like diving into, so when you first got into mortgage, you were at LOA. I was too.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people jump from, like, obviously they don't jump into being a loan officer right away. They kind of get the guidance from somebody else, learn the systems, and then do that. And like, do you feel that in that 6-month time frame, you got like everything you needed to, move on and just become your own person?
Hell no. Hell, absolutely not. I was pushing paper. I was collecting documents. I was doing just a lot of tedious work.
Yeah.
In the beginning, right? But I think everyone has to go through that, right?
Right.
So no, I didn't think I had everything when I first got in.
I feel like it's definitely like for me, like I was an LOA for at least like a year and a few months, like because I was in school and I was doing it. So like the summer, I was an LOA, but I wasn't actually collecting documents. I didn't even know what a condition was. Mm-hmm. I was just cold calling agents. Like that's all I did. So it was just like being an LOA, like an actual LOA, like interesting. Like if you were to come back into the market now, right? And with everything you knew like about the industry, but not in the industry, like what would you do first? Would you just be an LOA? Like, would you go up to somebody like, would you go up to like a top producer and be like, yo, let me be your LOA? Or like, what would you do?
Damn, if I can go back, but I know everything that I know now?
Just like like about the mortgage industry, not inside. Like you don't know like the you know.
Right. I'd definitely probably go for a top producer, and I would become a broker. I'd work for a broker if I could.
I like that.
In the beginning, yeah.
It's good to learn from people who are like willing to teach, because I feel like there's definitely a barricade of like, you want to help somebody or you want to make money off of them.
Right.
It's like one or the other. You can go one down, two lanes.
Absolutely.
So you gotta find the person who's like willing to help you, and you're gonna trade your, work for their support and like their expertise,
Absolutely.
Perfect segue. Now with the rates that have increased, how is the business now? Like
isn't it so funny? This is exactly what happens. Realtors, they ask us right away, what are the rates? I'm like, it's a lot deeper than that, bro. Come on, but you don't have anything to say about being an LOA or like anything like that?
Loan officer assistant? No, I have no idea what they do.
All right, it's fine.
It's just what I say. Just do, paperwork, tedious stuff.
Yeah.
Nothing sexy at all.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Yeah.
It's like a real estate apprentice.
Mm-hmm. I didn't even go to the happy hours, so I wasn't even invited to that. So there's nothing sexy about being an LOA. They're important and they're good, right? Like, I think they can certainly help the LO and they're necessary, but I just didn't find anything sexy about it.
Yeah, it's definitely not cool to say. Yeah. I'm an LOA.
But
shout out to the LOAs.
We're in totally.
No, shout out to the LOAs.
You're gonna make it.
Yeah, you're necessary. You're important.
All right, so back to your question. Back to your question.
Well, we're in totally two different markets. Like, how is the market where you're at?
So the market in the DMV, because that's where I'm focused on, is interest rates are high, right? The market, the house market, from what I'm seeing, is buyers are getting a better chance of buying the house that they want by getting credits. Right, like before, last year, the year before, you had to put more money down. You had to have that money just in case it didn't appraise. Forget about a credit. But now it's in the buyer's hands where they're like, I want this house. I'll give you this much for it, but I want 10 back, right? But the interest rates are higher. So they may not qualify for that house that they wanted 2 years ago, but they couldn't afford anyways because they didn't have the extra money. So, it's a give and take. And, I try to explain that to the buyers all the time now. You can't compare your house to somebody that bought a house a year ago. Also, to answer your question, what are the rates? It does go a lot deeper than that, right? Like, what type of loan program are we talking about? We talking about FHA, conventional VA? What's your credit score? What are the compensating factors? All these things make up an interest rate per se, right?
For the audience that doesn't know how the rates are adjusted per person, because it's different rate for everybody.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand that though, right? A lot of people think, I'm going to get the same rate as so-and-so, but so-and-so may have an 800 credit score.
Right.
They may make over 6 figures a year, no debt. So
and have like 50% down.
Exactly. So can we break that down a little bit? Because the reason why I ask, I know what's going on, but somebody who's listening who doesn't have the best credit, or, like I said before, knows somebody who got a really good deal, may not get a really good deal for them.
First thing I'm gonna say is yesterday's price is not today's price. Like that. You got to say that first. And there's something that's called LLPAs. Right? You guys, know what that is? Do you know what that is?
No idea. Can you enlighten me?
It's a loan level price adjustment.
Okay.
Right. So the amount of money you put down may affect that LLPA, and then LLPA is going to better or worsen your interest rate. So the down payment, the DTI, the debt to income ratio, the credit score, all these things. If it's a condo,
if it's a 2-family,
right? Yeah, absolutely. So LLPAs are what add or take away from the interest rate.
Got it.
That's why sometimes it's also a misconception that interest rates are the same for a single family, 2-family, the loan amount, the actual loan amount, because then you go high balance, jumbo, super jumbo. There's so many different things. So it's when somebody asks a question of general interest rate, I don't even know what answer to give them. Just around this number, you know what I mean? Which I'm not going to say. We can't say what the rate is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I tell them usually the highest interest rate, and prepare them just in case, because also until we lock your loan, that rate
Doesn't even matter.
It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. And if you take 2-3 months to buy a house and the rate that we first talked about, forget about it.
Yeah.
You know,
especially in this market.
It was crazy how they jumped up from like, you know, low fives, mid fives to like
Yeah.
where they
Crazy.
jumped to. It was just like
But that
night and
happened
day.
like this.
That's what I'm saying.
did.
Like it just happened like night and day.
It was what? How? It was 4 days. The Thursday after the rate hike, we lost 14 basis points, something like that. And then like 2 days after that, the Monday, I think we were like even. And then the next day, like the Tuesday, we lost like 155. So it's like it was numbers like that where that's so dramatic. Like I've never seen a day like that before. And the 114 was bad. And then 2 days later it was 155. I've never seen a 155 day before. Which basically what I'm saying is like the market moves up or down, right? Mortgage-backed securities, they have to get bought up by somebody. The pricing that they get for it is what we basically build our pricing off of, or wherever we get our pricing from. So once it goes down, like the pricing goes down, that means your interest rate goes up. So yeah.
correct. Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know, but I mean, we can say fairly, if you want to give a prediction on what you think is going to happen, please feel free.
Yeah, absolutely. I think rates are going to go up, and I think rates are going to go down.
I think it's fair to say.
I mean, you know, that's you know,
Can't argue with you there.
right. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Genius.
I mean, I think it's fair because some people think that we have a crystal ball to be like, all right, the rate's going to be at like 6.375 in like December 14th. Like we have no idea.
Right.
We don't even control it. Like that's the funniest part.
Have you seen a lot of like, all right, so right here in New York, in Long Island, in the area that we service, we're seeing a lot of like price reductions, right? Sellers are reducing their price. Are you seeing a lot of price reductions and corrections over there?
I am seeing that, yeah. You know, nothing dramatic, right? I don't know, 10, 15, 20,000, I would say I'm seeing.
You know what's interesting though? Like I'm doing price reductions, and now that I'm doing price reductions, the traffic's there. So more people obviously are coming in, but we're still getting those properties that are getting overaxed once we do the price reduction. So it's pretty interesting.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So in certain areas.
So what are like your, like usually in the DMV area, like you said you're around like what purchase price? Like I know it's a range, but like
Yeah, it's I always say that my average loan amount is $333,000, but we're probably looking at between $375 and maybe $420 average purchase price, I would say, depending where and all that stuff.
What, like on the higher end, like a 420, what would that purchase down there? Like acre wise, like how square footage wise, would you know? Like as far as like home wise?
like
No,
like
'cause
thinking you're
I'm just trying to
think of,
compare
like,
the
an
markets.
average house. Like the most average house. How much would that cost?
The most average house
Like
right
the most
now,
average house, yeah.
380, 410.
Yeah, see something like that here, it would be like a fixer up or something that's completely outdated, that needs work, that you have to. We're talking about like a fully renovated house.
Yeah, no, these are turnkey.
Yeah, no, these are not
380,
turnkey.
410, yeah.
Well, depending where, but it's not so
But see,
common.
That's the thing. Like interest rates are going up because of that reason. Like because these prices need to come down. So it's like that when somebody who makes decent income, right? Like decent, take it however you want to take it. Like if they can't even buy a house, like that's the problem here. Like that's why the rates are going up so much, so prices come down. So it's like, that's why I think that like it makes sense, at least for the short term.
So I was talking to a buddy of mine in the office who's been in the business for like 20 plus years, right? And he's like, I want these interest rates to go up even higher because it's going to knock everybody who was in real estate, as far as like agent wise, out the game.
That's
so
true.
People who thought this was easy, and they're going to realize it's not easy. Well, I mean, people are realizing now that it's not easy. You know, it's a lot more work. If you got in between like when COVID hit us to, I feel like we started feeling like a little bit of a shift in like late May, early June over here.
That's fair to
as
say.
far as like market wise, a lot of agents dropped out. A lot of
people aren't going to make it.
A lot of people aren't going to make it. But I feel like even if the rates do go up that high, it's still a good time to buy because the prices are going to come down.
It's always a good time to buy.
Yeah.
You know, if you can afford it, then just buy it, right? If not, just add up your rent that you're paying every month, and that's what you lost.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's just that simple, right? Like, I'm fortunate I got in with a 2.25% interest rate.
Wow, that's awesome.
You know,
don't rub it in.
Perfectly.
Don't rub it in, please. Don't rub it in.
You know, and it's just like you just got to get in when you fit in. You know,
you
and
can't time the market.
You can't. You know, I started my home buying process maybe 2 years prior to that. You know, but I ended up buying last year. So, you know, I could have been one of the persons that buy with a 4 or 5% interest rate, you know, but when it was my time to buy, I bought. And that's what I tell people, like, hey, let's see how much you're qualified for. Are you comfortable with this payment? Do you have the money? If so, then do it. You know, everyone says, you know, marry the house, date the rate, which I think is... But sure, you know, I mean, it worked, I guess, you know.
Please tell us your honest opinion.
Everyone has a different opinion.
Listen. No, go ahead, share it.
I don't want to get canceled. I don't want to get canceled. Don't cancel me.
No, people have said positive things and negative things about that already. So go ahead, speak, just talk.
Nope.
Tell us what you want to say.
No, I'll say it afterwards.
All right. Just tell us after.
Off air, come on.
Off air. But I think that no matter what you do, if you look back 10 years ago, right, in 2012, who's like asking what the rate was like 10 years ago?
No one really.
Nobody's asking that question.
But you know why they're asking now? It's because COVID. Those COVID rates, they're still hanging on to that COVID mindset. You know, this like, oh, I want those rates. You missed out. It's gone already.
Yo, forget about it. Just like
you can't live in the past.
It wasn't even supposed. It shouldn't have happened. Like it should not have happened.
So, you know, you can't, that's what I tell them, like, listen, that's irrelevant for you right now. You know, I don't talk about when Bitcoin was freaking pennies.
Yeah.
It's in the past.
It's in the past.
Stop living in the past.
We've been telling you since that point anyway. We were telling you when the rates are 2% to buy now.
Yeah.
And you didn't.
You didn't. You bought a
That's your
car.
fault.
And now you're still waiting for the market to crash and look.
Hey, still like that. What do you think? They're going to be $1.99? Like,
and that's the one thing about homes is you're not going to find a house that's not worth anything. A home is always going to be worth something.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's 3 things people need in this world, right? Food, shelter, water. You're always going to need to buy a house. What's the 4th one?
I need you.
Hey, yo. Awkward.
All right.
What's next?
Food, shelter, and water, right?
Yeah.
And if you're not buying now, you're still renting, you're still paying 100% of your landlord's mortgage. So it's like, what are you doing? $3,500 a month over the course of 5 years is 200 plus.
Wild.
It's a lot of money that you'll never see a return on.
Never.
But again, if that goes towards your mortgage, you can take out that money, use that money to buy other properties. You know, you can leverage
Do you think
that.
that real estate is was or is getting to be a saturated market, like with investors and like just people wanting to buy like a second home to like rent out? Like, do you think it's getting like really saturated? Do you think it's becoming to the point where it's very hard to cash flow, like in your area?
No, not in my area. I don't think so. You know, because we live in a very, you know, DC, you know, the capital, right? So, and you've got so much military over there. You've got a base for everybody over there. So, you know, that market, the DMV, I think is a very good, tight market. Like, I think you're always going to win over there.
But even here, I mean, rent has gone up. Rent prices are through the roof.
Has rent ever gone down?
I don't know about you.
Not where we are. No.
I mean, has it ever gone down? Right. That's something that people need to, you know, ask themselves. Is, you know, you don't sign another lease and get a reduced amount.
No, I know what you're saying now. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
oversaturated. No, you're always going to be able to make money and the right investments in real estate.
Mm-hmm.
No, the reason why I was asking that question was because I feel like in some parts, like some areas, like it doesn't make sense to buy a house like for cash flowing reasons because the prices are too high and like the taxes are too high.
I see.
But,
you know what I mean?
But that's subject to every market and every person. Like,
no, yeah, that's what I was asking. Like in your area, have you seen that in some parts of
on the low end? What would you say would be like the minimum that you would want a property to cash flow? I feel like that's subject to everybody's opinion.
Right, that's true.
It's like, all right, I want to make another $200 or $300 a month.
Right, yeah.
Like I'm happy with making another $400 a month.
Mm-hmm.
That's different for every person. So it's like,
it depends on how much you're like actually putting down and stuff. But I feel like there's some markets where like you can cash flow a ton, like cap rates are ridiculous, and then like I feel like there's some parts of like New York where like your cap rates at like 1%, like I mean, I guess, again, it's subject to because, we just had Jude Bernard on the last episode. He was talking about how he loses $500 a month on a property, and he still appreciates at around like 2% on like a $2 million property. So he's still he's losing $6,000 in cash, but he's making $40,000. So he's netting $32,000 a year on the property. And if he wants to do that and like that compound interest growing every single month, and it makes sense for him, like I'm not going to say no, obviously, like that's great for him,
Well, look at him. He wanted to make another $500 a month,
and it's very smart what he's doing.
And he blew that up into a 40 million plus portfolio.
Insane.
So, real estate is the way.
I mean, you just need your first one.
You just need one property to start with.
Yep.
Gain some equity out of there, and then just move it forward.
And I see people. Everyone wants that dream house as the first house. They can't afford that.
Yeah.
And you're going to live somewhere. Just, buy a decent spot, make sure it's in a, decent neighborhood, make sure it's habitable, and just freaking, do whatever you want with it afterwards, paint it, do any remodeling that you want to your liking, and just get your first one.
That's a fact. Like I was saying before, I purchased my first house, right? I knew that area was going to go up. I knew everything that was like around that area. Like it's just close to like everything. And in 2 years it went up. Like 6 figures in equity now. Like that's amazing. Like I could sell that property, and closing time is like 45 days here, give or take 30 to 45.
Yeah, I'd say like 30.
Make
to 45
6 figures
days.
in 30 to 45, 60 days, max. That's crazy.
It can happen. A lot of people have made a lot of money in real estate. Whether you're on the real estate side of things, in the sense of like you're selling the house, like you're a realtor, or you're selling your own house. There are a lot of people that have bought in houses because they sold their previous house and made, over 6 figures. And then there are people that have not made any money because they're still renting and they're waiting for the market to crash.
Yeah.
But hey, listen, the world needs renters too. So.
Yeah. The thing is, like, when you ask a real estate investor, like, what their biggest, like, real estate mistake is, they always say not buying this property or the fact that I sold this property. Like that's how they always start, because they either sold something that like went up a bunch in value, or they sold something in like an area that like shot up in price, or they missed out on buying that property that like shot up in price. It's just interesting how it works. Like they're always going to say my biggest mistake is not buying this or like selling this too early. Like whatever, like the case may be. So it's interesting. You really do like that saying, like buy real estate and wait. Like it's true. Be patient.
Don't wait to buy real estate. Buy real estate and wait.
Yeah, that's
just be patient. It's not going to go up to $50,000 the day after you close. Like just give it time. You know what I mean?
Unless you got a really sick deal.
That's true. Well, then you make the money when you sign contracts.
Right. And that brings me to something is I wish I would have bought a house when I was in the Army with some buddies of mine, because a VA loan, you put in 0% down. There's no PMI on there.
Yeah.
And between, 3 to 4 buddies, you could probably buy a fat crib.
Yeah.
Owner
occupied. You're chilling.
Yeah, owner occupied, living in a fat crib, paying your portion of it, which is comfortable for you, and as a single bachelor, military guy or gal or person, I think that's a great move, and you can probably get your closing costs covered with with the seller's credit.
Yeah.
I'm happy you brought that up, because in our market, when COVID hit us, there was a lot of buyers who were coming from the city. Like the 5 boroughs were coming out here, and they were making it expensive for Long Islanders to live on Long Island, because they were coming with so much cash. Because those properties, you could have a similar property, and that property in Long Island isn't worth what the property in, like, let's say Queens, right? Yeah. That Queens property is worth like triple the price. So they're coming with so much money, they're waiving the inspection, waiving the appraisal, and their buying power is so much stronger. We're talking about like 15, 20%, opposed to somebody who's putting like 3.5% down or 5% down. And with that being said, a lot of the VA loans were not getting accepted because it's 0% down, which again, it's a government loan. I mean, it's a really good loan.
It's a great loan.
People weren't getting their offers accepted, which is sad. These people go to war, fight for your freedom, and they weren't getting their VA loans. Right.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
They don't get to take advantage of their benefits.
Right, yeah.
it's like I said, it's sad. It's crazy.
So-
But that's the market that I was seeing.
Yeah.
Little to no VA loans were getting accepted. And for one major, I'm going to say this, for one reason, because a lot of agents are not educated on the VA loans.
I agree. Yep.
They're not educated.
They were scared of the appraisal.
Yeah,
That's what I always
exactly
heard.
what I was like thinking.
Appraisal
That's
and
the only drawback.
But I've done VA loans where they also do a cesspool inspection as well, where they check. I don't know if they have cesspools over there, but they do cesspool inspections on the homes here, and they're like, well, if they find something, and because cesspools are not cheap out here, to replace a cesspool is probably like anywhere from like 10 to 15,000.
Oh wow.
So it's pricey. So that's what I guess people were scared of, but still, I mean, it's unfortunate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, the appraisal is the only drawback I see. Because money, like, I mean, I don't know if you'd say, I'm sure you're going to say the same thing, but like for me in like the New York market, like doing a seller's concession is sometimes easier than sourcing down payment money. You know what I mean?
God.
Like, it's easier.
But
you know what I mean?
back to when you say appraisal, why though?
Because the VA appraisal is a little bit different. I'll let you elaborate if you want.
Yeah, it's just a little bit different, and everyone thinks that a conventional appraisal is so much more lenient and easier, right? But a VA appraisal, similar to an FHA appraisal, like if you got repairs, you're gonna need them done. I mean, just with any appraisal, really.
Yeah.
But, so I think people just think that VA appraisals are. I mean, they can be a little bit more stringent, a little bit more complicated, but I mean, if the house is fine, then there's nothing to worry about.
Yeah, if the house is actually worth the contract price.
So correct me if I'm wrong. With FHAs, right? Because I've done deals before where we get a offer accepted, it goes into contract, the deal falls apart, it goes back in the market. That FHA appraisal sticks to the property for about 6 months.
Is it 6 months?
Wait, you're saying the FHA appraisal sticks with the property for 6 months?
So let's say another buyer, because I've run into this, I've had situations like this.
That's true, but I'm not sure if it's 6 months though.
Where there's another FHA buyer who wants to buy the house, and the appraiser, the banker, lender, whoever it is, calls and says, has there been an FHA appraisal done on the home? Because more than likely it's going to pop up. So let's say the property was $350, right? And they only appraise it, let's say for $340. That's going to pop up, right, on the FHA.
I know what you're talking about.
But if you
they
if
use they have
the
to
case number.
Yeah,
the case number. If you do a conventional, that doesn't pop up because it's a totally different loan.
because it's privatized.
It happened to me in Queens. That's why I'm bringing it up. Property appraised. We had it up for $955. Appraisal came back at $800,000.
God damn.
Right? That's what
Do
I said.
you know if it's 6 months?
I don't know if it's 6 months.
I don't know what the timeline is, but
That's
I
what
know
I
for
said.
some
I was
deals,
like,
FHA case number, you can't even remove it for a year, like something like that.
Oh wow.
so that happened. I told her, there's no way I'm going to let you take that big of a loss or any loss at all. I'm not here to help you, make a loss. I told her, let's put on the back on the market. Conventional offer came, appraised right at $960. So it's crazy.
Another thing is, an appraisal is someone's opinion. At the end of the day, right? It's that appraiser's opinion of what that house is. Yeah, they look at comps and stuff like that, but they're the ones that decide. So
If they say like one number that's a little bit higher than the other, then who knows?
You could always challenge an appraisal too, though.
you can, but I mean, you're challenging that appraiser.
Yeah, I just find it funny because
like that's what you're doing.
situations are
You're
funny.
like, yo.
But like I said before, and this has happened to me numerous amount of times. Like I've had properties under appraised. I'm like, there's no way. There's no way the house is only worth this much. When I have comps and we we challenge the appraisal and it comes in higher.
And then there's also like opposite situations where like a house appraises for much more, and you're like, how the hell did that even happen? Like,
Yeah, I've seen that. I mean,
I've seen that too.
both.
I've seen that in the height of COVID. I'm like, yo, how did that property appraise for that? That's nuts. Changing the game, changing the comps.
But it's kind of like it's a toss up. You don't know,
Yeah,
and that's
you
what
don't
makes
know.
it funny.
But
But it's always scary because you're just like, oh, I hope it comes in.
Yo, I've had sellers ask me that question like, all right, we're selling at this price, but what if the property appraises for more? It's like nothing.
Yeah, nothing for you.
But I've had buyers ask the same question too. It's like, all right, what if the property appraised for more? Do I have to pay more? I'm like,
No, but you get to have a seller's concession. You can figure something
Sales
out.
concession equity. I mean, it's a win once you get that property appraised for more.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So speaking of the market changing, so as the market changing, us as lenders, we have to adapt to what's moving on, right? But we don't have to adapt like refinance-based lenders have to adapt. There's a difference between the two. Please.
There is. So, refi lenders, in my opinion, are what would you say, order takers?
Yeah.
Right. You know, you call them up, I want to refinance, they do it. Right. It's just a transaction. Right. Purchase business is a business in itself because you've got business partners. Right. Your agents. So what I've been doing, I've just been going back I've been going back outside. Right. Like the happy hours, the luncheons, just the meet and greets, all that stuff, right? Going back to the closing tables and meeting everybody, you know. So I've gone back to that. Thankfully, fortunately, I have a book of business, so I wasn't a refi zombie and just picking up the phone and taking refis. I was still doing purchase business, and I'm still doing that now. What I'm doing also differently is, as a broker, I've got so many more products. You know, working with 180 plus lenders, you've got non-QM loans, which is not your traditional loan. You've got the bank statement loans, the tax ID loans. You got your low credit score, FHA loans, all that stuff. You know, I'm taking them. You know, where a lot of lenders are not taking them. So just let them know that I'm still versatile. I'm out here.
Yeah.
You get a lot of business from your social media because you have a good following.
I have a big following.
Yep, thank you. I do. So I market towards agents, right? Like a lot of my posts are directed towards agents where agents could relate, and I make sure that the post is shareable, right? Because like that's what's going to get me more followers, other people's followers. So I just try to make my stuff shareable, add some humor in there as well. And just try to stay relevant, right? I don't put too much of the educational, the cookie cutter stuff, you know, because one, that's just boring, and that shit gets looked over all the time, right? But when you make something a little funny, you know, a little sexy, you know, that'll get shared. So
when did you start to realize, like, all right, what I'm doing on social media is really working? Like, did you have that one post you're like, damn, I didn't realize that it got shared so many times?
Yeah. I have three posts that are pinned to my story at Cristian MLO, Cristian with no H for no hassle. Okay. So I think I had it was just going crazy. This one was in December. It just had like over 500 reshares, and then it just kept growing. I think it's over like 4,000 reshares now.
What was it?
It was business. You're more likely to turn a client into a friend than a friend into a client.
Simple.
You know, but a lot of people can relate to that. Not just agents, you know, regular people.
Everybody.
Entrepreneurs, business owners, you know, they can relate to this. So that one went crazy. Then I did another one that said, them. I want to be more than friends. Me, you can be my client, you know, and like that one went crazy too. That one has, I think, maybe over 3,000 reshares now. So,
well,
yeah,
I think that's a good strategy though. I like that because like you can grow at like a steady pace.
Yeah.
You know?
And I got the idea from Justin LeBoy, right? Just the way that his post, his social media was, it was just words, right? It was a post. Right, so I started doing the same thing and it picked up. And then in my stories, I post a bunch of memes, right? And I got that from my tattoo artist. So he posts a bunch of memes. And I remember I was getting in the routine. I'd wake up in the morning, use the bathroom, and go on his page and look at his stories. He had like, I don't know, some 20, 30 memes, and I would just go through that. And that was my morning routine. Look at his memes and laugh. You know, so then I was like, you know what? People like memes, you know, and I just started doing the same thing. I got a meme dealer. Shout out to my meme dealer who, you know, who hooks it up.
That's awesome. Smart way of thinking.
And I like the fact that you said that you market towards realtors because, like, I do the same exact thing. The flow of business sometimes goes from the lender first, then to the realtor. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times it goes from the realtor to the lender.
A lot of times.
So it's like, in terms of getting a client from social media, some people would say otherwise. For me, it's been a little bit more difficult getting the clients straight from social media. I found it a lot easier to get connected with more businesses through social media. So it's like, that's how I do it as well. I gear more towards businesses rather than clients. While I do also cater to clients, I just don't get them as much. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Well, let me ask you a question. Since you're a pro at this, what would be your like 2 cents or advice to him, somebody like that that's looking to get clients? Because obviously you want clients to reach out to you from your social media. They're free leads.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I definitely get more agents than, that first-time home buyer that reaches out to me. I'm not sure how consistent you are with your posts.
He's not consistent.
I'm getting there.
No, you're not consistent. You've been saying that for like a year or two.
No, it's actually happening. Bro, when I say I got big things coming, just wait for it. Actions speak louder than words.
The consistency, man, that's the biggest thing. I try to post 3 times a day.
Okay, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I post like once a week maybe.
Oh, no. See, no, you need the
consistency. I told you.
Yeah, and, everyone knows, right, on my page, for the most part, everyone knows that I do mortgages, right? Cristian MLO. MLO stands for Mortgage Loan Officer or Loan Originator. And everyone knows that's what I do. So, when people hit, and another thing, as soon as I get a new follower, I thank them for the follow. And I tell them, if there's anything real estate mortgage related that I can help with, please feel free to ask. My phone's always charged.
I like that.
So I always make contact every time I get a new follow, unless they have like Forex trader in their bio.
Yeah, then
I don't.
I'm gonna steal that from you because I like that.
Yeah, take it.
That's a gem for everybody. That's why I ask.
I like that. Because I feel like sometimes like I'll reach out to whoever's coming in and just like say what's up. I would like to add value to each other's platforms, obviously, whatever. And just like initiate conversation. But in terms of like the way you said it, I like that because that opens the door to a lot of different people. So I like that.
And I'm sure you get a lot of agents now that see, because I feel like, look, content, social media is huge, right? So I feel like a lot of agents want to work with you for your online presence as well.
They do. I think they do.
Yeah. I agree 100%.
Yeah, like we do content all the time. We do this podcast every week. We cut up clips and everything, and people always come up to us like, "Oh, we love your content. We love your podcast." So it's huge. It's opened up doors for us. Well, we don't really have to introduce ourselves. Right, they just know who we are.
May not have been open.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's the same for me. So now when I go to these real estate events, people are like, "Yo, are you Christian?" And I'm like, "Yes, I am."
Do you not see the jacket?
Right. You don't see the big B's in the building, So it's cool. It's very nice, and I don't pay for any ads on social media, right? So what I'll do is I'll do my Starbucks drop. If you guys are familiar with it.
Will you give out a free Starbucks?
I'll do a free Starbucks, yeah. So I make a post. I said, hey, put that credit card down, let that Starbucks drink be on me. And then I have the barcode associated with it. And it's up there until it runs out. And it's at a random moment, right? So you got to be following me. It encourages people to hit the notifications bell to make me their favorites, right? That. Because it's a drop, right? And it's when it runs out, then I post another post saying, hey, sorry you missed out. Right, so now they're like, damn, I missed it.
Wait, so has anybody ever went to Starbucks?
Absolutely, several times.
You're like trying to use your code and it just hasn't worked.
Several times, yeah, but that's what makes it fun too, though, because they're like, oh shit, it's here, and let me run downstairs or wherever to Starbucks, and then if they get lucky, then they'll tag me.
That is genius because everybody loves Starbucks.
Everybody loves Starbucks. 2,
if it's free, it's for me, and 3, that keeps him top of mind. Because if they miss the drop, it's like, damn, I gotta hit the notification bell next time I know.
Yo, I'm stealing that from you too.
Take it, man. You know what? I'm gonna say this. This is a $1 million episode for a lot of loan officers who want to grow their business, because I think you're dropping so many gems on how to just get themselves out there even more in front of more real estate agents and marketing wise. Like, it's huge. Yeah. What else can you give us? You should write a book.
I'm working on that. Big things coming. So I'm working on a podcast right now too.
Awesome.
I got 2 on the way. It's Closing with Cristian and My Lonely Life. Lonely spelled LOAN.
I like that.
So I got those 2 in the works. One is going to talk about real life closings, to go over that buyer, right, with their DTI, was their credit score, so let people that may be in that same situation, like, oh, maybe I can't afford something, right? And then My Lonely Life, to talk about different loan programs, right? Tips and advice for agents and other loan officers. So
this is exclusive info.
Yeah.
Dropping bombs today.
So I'm also doing a Telfar bag drop. 2 Telfar bags that's going to be announced on Halloween. It's a blue one and a white one. So if you got to follow me in order to get that.
He's working his way up to the Birkin bag, ladies.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
yeah,
the Birkin bag is coming. All right. Once he hits 100,000 followers, it'll be there.
You know, I like that. You know what? Maybe $1 million, but 100,000. I'll do something big for 100,000.
That's
honestly,
awesome.
I feel like that's $1 million game because like I definitely like need to incorporate something like that into what I do because I just post like stuff whatever I'm doing throughout the day like, but I feel like adding notification bell, like people viewing my story more, it reminds them of me more.
I told you got to post more. I post all the time. He's like, you're posting too much. I'm like,
man, you're not posting enough.
You post too much.
You said it. I post too much.
Yeah, because you post he posted like 6 times in a day, and I was like, yo, you kind of overdoing it a little bit, but that was just one time.
But listen, you got to look at his followers and then your followers, and then ask yourself, is he posting too much or am I posting too little? You know, I thought the same thing. When I was doing 3 posts, I was like, how many times does Justin LeBoy post? Then I saw, his stuff was back to back from, hours. I was like, man, I'm not posting enough, and I had an ex-girlfriend that would be like, you're posting too much. And I'm like, no, you're just mad that I'm getting all these comments.
That's why you're an ex-girlfriend.
Right, so, listen, you got to post, man. Because, with the algorithm, the post you just posted may not be seen by the one. It
won't hit right away. It'll hit maybe after.
Right, yeah. If you check out my posts, right, not every post is a hit, right? Some things will get like 10, 12 likes. Others will get 100, 200, 300. And it's all about the algorithm. You don't know it, and you just got to freaking post.
I was so surprised. I made like one random video, and like it just popped off.
It was an 8-second video.
It was 9 seconds.
9 seconds. All right, whatever. Every second counts.
No big deal. And it got like 46,000 likes.
God.
And then the post right after got like 100.
But that's the algorithm though. That's why you continue to post.
It's crazy how it works.
Yeah,
It's crazy how it works.
I still got to get into the reels, man. I always say I'm going to do it every week, but I never do.
Nah, you dropped a lot of bombs today. We're going to cut up some clips and we're going to send you some content over your way.
Get your reels from there.
Thank you.
But reels, in my opinion, work so much better than posts. Like, that's why I only post on reels. Like, I don't post.
Yeah, I'm surprised like your posts do so well. But again, you're adding value and you're making it funny too. Because for me, I feel like I don't really post like pictures per se. Once I post like a reel, then I see it like the engagement, the views. I feel like everything changes.
I just don't like the aesthetics of it, how it looks on my page.
I know you mean
the reels and versus the post.
Because you got to make like a cover and
it looks so much cleaner with just the pictures.
I know what you mean.
More classic.
Yeah, so I'm gonna still do that. I'm gonna do my own reels, and hopefully it works my way. If not, then I'll have to adjust and.
But you can make the reels have the same cover as the post, right?
But it doesn't. It just won't look the same.
It won't have, I get what you're saying.
The aesthetics of the page itself won't look the same. It won't look as clean to me.
Yeah, you got to make it customized, whatever you want it to be. You got to do what's best for you.
Yeah.
But I think that right now, another thing we could definitely touch base on is just like moving markets. Like, something we touched a little bit on before, just like as now, like a lot of refi-based lenders, like you've had a book of business before, right?
Right.
Like I've been purchase-based, you've been purchase-based. And like a lot of refi lenders are going to come out and try to speak to the real estate agents. And obviously they should, because that's what everyone should do.
Absolutely.
But there's a difference between a refi-based lender and a purchase-based lender. Because purchase-based lenders, we're always here for you. Christian and I will always be there for you. Refi lenders, you left when the rates were low.
That's right, yeah.
And when the rates were super low, you left.
Yeah. For that, I'm not too worried about them trying to come after my business because, my business is mine, right? Just like your business is yours. And, people work with who they like. I'm a very likable guy, right? And I'm not too worried about that. And if I lost that agent, well, then, it's okay. There's another one out there for me. And there are more agents than there are lenders. Like, I'm a find an agent. On my way here, when I was here, I had a call from an agent that follows me. Shout out to her. I didn't have her number saved. And she called me and she told me that she had a Spanish speaking client that she wanted to refer out to me. And, I got a new lead here. So
you speak Spanish?
I do fluently.
See, that's something I wish I was able to do. Speaking Spanish.
You're Salvadorian too, right?
Goddamn right.
Yeah. We're taking over.
Yeah,
honestly, like the thing is with the refi-based lenders is that like I agree. I'm not worried about like them taking my business, but it's just like, I don't know. It's just like they have to adjust and they don't know how to handle the business the same. So it's like working through a client for months at a time and not getting the instant gratification is different. Like, cause like purchase-based lenders, like we know what it's like to work with somebody for a year and not close, like because they haven't found the house yet. You know what I mean? So it's like a different level. But another thing on top of that is like what we're doing for our referral partners in this market, like what we're doing to really grow their business. Like in this market right now where things are changing, and is it, you know, is it wrong to say that we're going to see not only a shrinkage of lenders, but also a shrinkage of realtors, you know, on the market? Do you think that's the same thing?
Like I said before, yeah, a lot of agents are going to leave.
I think that's like, I think when the market moves down, right, prices move down, and then we'll be able to, you know, there might be less clients. Who knows what the market's going to be, but there's going to be less lenders and less realtors to service those clients. So if you stick it out, I think you should be good.
I agree.
It's survival of the fittest.
That's right,
Once those rates jump up even more, only the strong going to survive. Only the real hustlers with a book of business or willing to do stuff that other agents or lenders or whoever, entrepreneurs, are not willing to do are the ones going to still be making money.
Yep. You know, right now, a lot of the business I'm getting, they're difficult loans, difficult deals, right? Whether it's low credit, high DTIs, self-employed borrowers. You know, it's just it's harder work, right? It's not the refi deals that you're getting, and just like to piggyback what you were saying with the instant gratification on a refi deal. You know, you could be working with somebody now in this market for 3 months, and then 4 months later, you know, now they don't qualify anymore because you know, you had to repull the credit and the credit score dropped, or two, the rate that you guys started working at is you know, is much higher now, and now they don't qualify because of the new high rates, right? So what I'm doing is I'm qualifying my clients with a much lower DTI, right? I'm not capping them out at that, you know, 56.99% DTI for an FHA loan because, you know, anything can happen. And then now they don't qualify for the house that they've been looking at for 3 months, you know. So, you know, you shouldn't qualify somebody like at their max because anything can happen. And then now, you know, they're all deflated, demotivated, and now they don't want to buy it anymore. And everyone, I want to say wasted their time, but now they don't have a deal. And now they've lost time.
I think that's a very strong point because I feel like when everyone was saying like update your pre-approvals, like that's what they meant. Because some lenders out there will like pre-approve them for their max, and then the next day it doesn't even work anymore.
Insane.
So it's like you have to check up on your pre-approvals, like, you know,
Daily.
I wouldn't say daily per se,
well,
but like
every hike.
Weekly. Like I would say weekly, you should always be readjusting your pre-approval. And like I did the same exact thing you did. Like I would not really go over like 54. Like 54 would be my max, and then like I would reissue another pre-approval as needed. You know what I mean? Because just in changing markets, like it's important, and you know you got to be on top of your stuff because we don't want to waste any realtors' times. Like as
absolutely
lenders, we don't want
reputation is
time.
everything in this business,
right? And you know, agents, you know, they drive around, show houses, you know,
they're spending money doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we're doing it from the comfort of our office. Right, we just need a laptop
in the
and
AC,
internet.
music on.
You know, you're not
shoes off.
Right. You know, flip flops, chancletas, all that. And you know, agents, you know, sometimes you guys have to put up with the clients being late. Now you're saying after, all that. So that's why I try to pre-approve them or go over my pre-approvals on Thursdays. Because they're probably going to go see houses that weekend, So Thursdays, I think, is a good day to follow up with your clients, and always, you always got to ask for the business, right? Because one, I think a lot of lenders and maybe agents too are afraid or nervous to ask for the business. Maybe they're a little timid and they're like, oh well, I haven't closed them yet, so I don't want to ask just yet. It's like no, you got to always ask.
Always ask.
100%.
When those endorphins are pumped up and you're like, all right, I've gotten you into the deal. Who else can I help buy or sell? Yep. I'm here to help all your friends and family. You should always ask.
Always.
I don't the thing is, I'm not going to lie, I used to wait until after we close to do that. I used to. And then when I realized that, why would I wait if if they're going through the emotions of they're excited, they want to work with you, they're looking forward to doing the deal with you. they're going to know people in that meantime. If you're working with them for, let's just say you pre-approve them and they close within a 6-month time frame, let's just say. In those 6 months, if they know one person that's looking to buy a house, you just lost it.
You did.
It doesn't make sense.
Yep.
You know what
And,
I mean?
and it's nobody else's fault but yourself because you should have asked.
Yeah.
You know?
Why not? Why wait until the end?
Last question before we wrap everything up. We do appreciate you coming here, man. It's a
thank
long
you.
drive.
Thank you.
What would be your advice? 'Cause you're dropping a lot of gems. Like, as far as for me, like realtor wise, what I would tell an agent who's, you know, that wants to survive in this business is go back to the basics, right? Go back to cold calling, go back to door knocking, go back to creating relationships and curating those relationships and nurturing those relationships. What would be like a lender's advice to somebody who wants to stick around in this market, right? That's shifting. What would you tell them as far as like, hey, this is how you got to survive?
So I would tell the first thing that, you know, go for agents, you know, realtors, those are your clients. Right. You know, you may get 1 or 2 from past client referrals, but the agents, this is what they do every single day. Right. So they're the ones that's going to be bringing you the deal. Try to work as fast as possible in the sense where, you know, you're pre-approving your clients quickly. Don't have them wait too long because then, you know, that's where, you know, they start getting maybe bad advice from someone. Then they go somewhere else. You got to be likable. You know, this is an industry where people work with who they like, and always ask for the business at the beginning, in the middle, and the end. That's what I would tell somebody.
$1 million game right there.
Let's see it. Where can everyone reach out to you?
Cristian MLO. That's my. You know what? Here I got something here.
Bringing out the Gucci bag.
Oh yeah. Just some slight here. Here it is.
He's pulling out money.
I am pulling out money. I thought I had more ones on me. I spent them all this weekend. So I make sure that my money works for me, right? Like I treat every dollar like an employee. So I stamp all my ones. I normally don't carry cash. Oh, I must have left it in the car.
Oh, that's your Instagram handle.
That's my Instagram. That's my Twitter handle.
Making the money work for you.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah. So I had one for you too, Kevin, and I got you. I must have left it in the car, man. I'm so sorry. But yeah, so I make my money work for me.
I don't get $1. I'm dollarless now. What the heck?
I'm gonna hold you.
My equity went down. Your equity went up.
Making money while I podcast.
Yeah, no, it's got to be my car. So I'll make sure. But this one's for you, James. Since you're the finance guy, you get the $1.
Ha.
I got you next.
You want to borrow this? 7% interest rate.
So, yeah, Cristian, that's Cristian MLO. MLO as in mortgage loan originator.
How do I show this to the camera?
Stamped it.
Listen, all my ones are stamped.
If your money's not stamped, you're not doing big business.
I have, yeah. People
100%.
have followed me 100%, and you know, I always ask where they got it from because I'm curious. Because
I like that idea. I'm gonna start doing that to my money too.
Yo, I'm stealing 3 things from you.
I'm gonna steal that.
Take it. So you know, $1 is gonna travel farther than a business card, and that's law, right? Like
yeah.
you're gonna lose a business card, you're gonna throw away a business card, but you're gonna spend this $1, you're gonna trade this $1, and it's gonna see another hand and another hand, and you know, you never know who you're gonna reach. So that's what I do. You know, I spend groceries on it, spend gas on it. I throw it up in the air on it, you know. So like, it you know, it helps me. It works for
Question
me.
is, like, I know we're about to wrap up, but question is, what did you do in terms of marketing before this? Because you like
marketing genius.
Yeah, you do a lot of marketing.
He
stuff.
sold raw meat. Slanging meat, state to state.
You learn a lot slinging meat, man. You know, it gets pretty nasty out there. But you know, listen, man, I'm always taking tidbits. You know, I've been doing the stamp thing for years now, so. You know, there's a couple, you know, few $1,000s in ones out there, 100%.
And they just add up over time.
They add up over time. Yeah,
Wow.
That's sick. I'm gonna start doing that. That's really dope. That's a dope idea.
Go for it, man. Go for it. Someone tried to tell me like, isn't this illegal? I was like, who's gonna stop me? Who's gonna be like,
Feds, if you're watching this, please don't come for us, all right?
You know, if anything, I'll make headlines.
I retract my statement.
It'll be worth the publicity.
Yeah, then I'll be blue verified. You know what I'm saying? Blue check, like. So go ahead, tell me.
And then you gotta do it on blue. What do you call it? The blue stripes next. After that,
I don't know what that is.
whatever, the blue cheese. I ruined the joke. I'm sorry, man.
Oh, listen, there's some blue cheese on there with the stamp on there.
All right, there you go.
100%.
Blue check, blue cheese.
Yeah.
There you go.
You know, they tried to cancel me a couple weeks ago, and, you know, now I got 2,000 more followers. So shout out to, you know.
What the heck are they trying to cancel you for?
I made this joke when Bank of America came out with their down payment assistance program towards black and brown neighborhoods. I made a joke. I made the joke that said, Bank of America be like, if there's a Pollo Campero or a Popeyes in your neighborhood, you qualify. So, you know, listen, that it did good until it made it to Facebook. And, you know, everyone was hating on me. They were trying to say that I was racist. They were trying to cancel me out. They were cursing me out. This one lady, you know, no lie, she called me and threatened me on the phone. She didn't call block either. So she was like, I hope that you get fired and that you never get hired again. Like, it was very cryptic. I was like, God damn. And I was like, is there anyone you know that's looking to buy me? So she hung up before that. And then, you know, they ended up contacting my company. My company reached out to me. They're like, hey, man, just take it down. You know, so it is what it is. It's all part of the game. But I got more followers after that. So shout out to that person.
Thank you, Karen.
Yeah, Karen, right. That's who it was, Karen.
Any last minute things you want to leave us off on?
No, listen, thank you guys so much for having me on the podcast.
Thanks
very, very excited to come here, man. Thank you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, that was the latest episode of the Real Estate and Chill podcast. A lot of gems dropped. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe.
Share this episode.
November 13th is around the corner. Team James against Team Kevin at Nassau Coliseum. We will see you there. Get tickets down in the link below. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to the Real Estate and Chill podcast with James Chaudhry and Kevin Iglesias. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, share this with your friends, your enemies, your mother-in-law. No, seriously, this podcast is so fucking good, you might want to tell your ex. See you next time.